everyone. I hope that this finds you well. I know that job hunts can be very taxing. And if you're unemployed, it is more imperative now that you find the job that you're looking for before it gets too bad. If you're running out of your savings, if you were affected by COVID, navigating success on the job hunt, this is the presentation for you. Let's get started. Well, first, let me introduce myself. I'm Andre Powell, also known as that guy Amp from Amp Speaks. And I have teamed up with WeShare's CDC WeCARES program. It's ultimately to navigate through the continuing effects of COVID. Some people have lost jobs, some people have lost ability to put food on the table, all of those things. And we here are focused on the employment readiness, trying to help you navigate the job hunt experience, trying to get you that job that you would desire to get, not the one that you've settled for, but we want to get you working and we want to position you in the best way possible to make sure that you are effective in your job seeking prowess. Why is this important? If you're not working, it is imperative that you get something sooner rather than later, right? If you are working, maybe there is an opportunity out there that you've only dreamed of having, but we want to make sure that we're able to position you better with the tips and the tricks that we show and share through all of the employment readiness sessions, that you can have a better opportunity with the job that you're looking for, that dream job that you've been trying to get to. And maybe you have a job currently. We're here to help you with that as well. We want to better position you in the job that you're currently in to do better, to excel, to advance in the ladder that is that job. So that's why it's important. Let's dive into our session today. It's focused on making sure that you are searching correctly when it comes to your jobs. Now, as I mentioned, the job hunt can be dire at times. You feel like you're applying for everything under the sun and you're not getting nearly the hits. Or maybe you aren't finding the right jobs that you've been looking for. You're looking for something very specific, but you keep finding jobs that are very broad, or you just really find yourself on board after board after the job hiring board with no success. Our goal with this session is to help you with your hunt, your job hunt. We want you to be truly successful at it. And if we can give you some tricks and some tips to get better acquainted with it, then tune in, stay tuned. I promise you it will be effective in what you're doing if you apply some of these basic things. But before we get started, as we like to do when we're having conversations with new people, is throw you all into an icebreaker. Now, this icebreaker is just a little puzzle, is to get your minds working. So as we approach some of these things, some of them you may have heard of real easily, real simply, and others may be a little more difficult to unscramble. But I'll give you a little bit of a punch on each one of them as we deal with it. All right, so our first one, we're going to give you all roughly about 30 seconds. And for some of you, you probably already guessed it. Some of you are already, oh, I know what it is. If you'll leave that in the comments, that would be great. That way other people can see it. All right, and we're coming up on 15 seconds. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Okay, we see you. LinkedIn, yes. LinkedIn is a platform for job hunters. This is a place for people that want to share their resume, connect with other people in their industry, and it also gives them an opportunity to show and shine on the abilities that they have, the skills that they have, the soft skills, the hard skills, all of those things. They can just share a little bit about themselves and what they're trying to do and trying to accomplish in it. So LinkedIn is a great tool, a great web-based tool that you can use both in app form or via your browser and really post yourself out there to see what's out there, one, but two, also be able to connect with other people in that industry to better position yourself for the jobs that are out there, to hear from some of the people. It also allows you to put a face with a name for some of those hiring managers that are dealing in the roles that you're looking for. So if you don't have a LinkedIn, get one started sooner rather than later. Get stuff posted out there and make sure that it works and you can leverage that by sharing more of your personal branding. All right, let's move to the next one. Ooh, this one's a little tricky. It's, for some, it's like, oh, we got it immediately. And we're going to give you that same 30 seconds. All right, 15. Oh, I see. Okay, I see a few answers in the chat. All right, so we'll give it 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Awesome, 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 awesome. So let's see what it is. Search engines. Now, you all might be saying, duh, search engines now that it's spelled out. And for those of you that answered it, good job, kudos. Search engine is ultimately a place or a location where you can search the World Wide Web. So, like a Google, or there are other ones within Firefox. Firefox sometimes piggybacks off of Google, but you have the Bing platform that has the new Pilot AI running behind it. You have a few others out there, GoDuck. Is a browser, and that extension has a little bit more limited within their search engine, but at the same time, it gives you a broader look at search engines, give you a broader look at just what's out there. And so using a search engine can be something that you can leverage in your job hunt, figuring out positions, figuring out position names, descriptions, all of those things. You can use that search engine for that. All right, let's jump to our next one. All right, 30 seconds on the board. Okay, looking at the chat. Don't see anything in there yet. We're down to 15 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. Let's see what it is. Job portals. So these might be like your I would say LinkedIn can be a source of a job portal. You also have ZipRecruiter, you have Hired, you have Glassdoor. There are a number of job portals that are out there that you can log into, put your resume on. Indeed is a good one. I know that one's out there. So you can use that one, you can upload your resume. It helps you build out a resume on it, as well as having that copy available so that people can read it. It also Job portals are ultimately where you're looking for the jobs at, right? And some of them are bigger than others. Some you have job portals within a company or organization that you can go to see all of the jobs that they are listing, whereas other job portals have a variety of different jobs that you can potentially apply to, and making your signing up, starting with a small account in them. Their free versions usually get you a number of different things in them. So start there with job portals. Just sign up for a couple as you're in this hunt. If you haven't already, look into some of those options I mentioned. All right, next one. All right, this one should be an easy one, and I can see it already. And no, that's not because I already know the answer. It looks relatively easy, and you all will know once you see it. Okay, I'm looking in the chat. Some of you got it pretty easily, pretty quickly too. Good, good, good. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice. All right. So, interview. You can't get a job without an interview. There is some interview process within this whole job hunt, and that requires some preparation as well. But you want to be able to interview and interview well in order to get that job that you've been trying to get to. Once you get past the finding the job, your resume is out there, they've called you or emailed you to get you on the phone, maybe, or have you come in person. Being ready to interview is definitely vital to this job hunt experience. All right, next one. I believe we have two more. This one and another one. So 30 seconds is on the board. Okay, down to 15 seconds. This one's a little more difficult. It's got a lot more letters, and they're all put together. Hmm. Let's see. Oh, there it is. Okay, so the word was professional. Boom. This is a professional experience. This is all about your professional life, your career goals, where you're trying to get to, what you're trying to do. If you're an entrepreneur, want to be an entrepreneur, eventually, this is all about those things that are professional. And some of us have to work a number of other jobs before we can get the experience, the knowledge. That's all professional knowledge that we can apply so that we can eventually get out and do our own businesses and so forth. So this is a professional based experience. Yes, you have the opportunity to share who you are and some of your personal potential, but most of this job hunt is focused around your professional and what you have done as your profession, what you want to do as your profession, where you're trying to get to. All right. That's self-explanatory, right? All right. And last but not least, 30 seconds on the board. This one's a little tricky. And you know what? I could get some of the word even without knowing it, just by looking at it. Because, yeah, no, I get it. I get it. I get it. We're down to 10 seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right. All right. So with that one, this one was Rocket Reach. And you know what? If I didn't know what Rocket Reach was beforehand, that would have been challenging, right? So that's probably what it is. If you knew what Rocket Reach was before, it might have jumped at you. At least what this particular word was. The first word was reach. You could have pulled out for the most part. All right, so those are just some of our icebreakers to get your mind thinking. Rocket Reach is a platform that allows you to know who some of the decision makers are for a company or an organization. For their free version, if you sign up with your email address, every month you get 5 free kind of like freebies, if you will, for people that you can connect with regards to their email addresses. That's their basic one. So excuse me. So you get to see who the decision makers are at an organization and potentially who might the hiring manager be for a position that you're looking at, who might be working in that field. And so you have an opportunity to kind of grasp what they're talking about through Rocket Reach. Rocket Reach is a great tool just to see who's on the board, who might you be talking to. All right. All right. So let's jump into this thing. The job hunt is real. How successful are you in it? If you are in this, if you're in this session, there are some things that maybe you didn't know, right? Maybe you're looking for a job and you haven't had the right successes in it so far. You've had some nibbles, but none to truly bite and really take you on, right? To somebody to take a chance. And so our goal here is to get you in front of people with some of the tips that we're going to share, some of the information that we're going to give you so that you can better position yourself to move forward in your job hunt and make sure that you are making the lasting impressions that you need to in order to land the job. And so success is for many people is getting that job, landing that job that they want, right? That they're applying for. Because if you're able to land the job, then you're able to work, you're able to put money towards food, housing, all of those things. And let's be honest, things are getting more and more expensive. So you want a job that it also pays well. And sometimes we have to present ourselves better and better focus our resumes and so forth to get those jobs and so land those jobs. And so that is our goal to kind of give you some tips to enhance what you're doing to land those jobs that maybe you just squeak by and or just missed opportunities. We want to make them fully gained opportunities. All right. So next, got a resume? Now, we talk about resumes often because resumes are kind of that first step in the job hunt process. I realize that if you're in the job hunt process, you have a job potentially in mind or a profession in mind that you're trying to get to. Having that resume together that speaks to that, that gives a general understanding of who you are, is probably one of the biggest things that you have going for you. And so let's be honest, resumes can be difficult at times to have and understand and know what all information that needs to be in them. We have a resume ready session that we go in depth on all those things that need to be in your resume, and it helps you build it out. We take the time to walk through each detail of the resume and what it means for employers, as far as making sure that you have the right words, making sure that when they read your resume, they're like, hey, we need to interview them. We need to sit down with them. We need to talk with them. And so the goal of the Resume Ready session is to make sure that you have everything that you need in this resume that speaks the best to who you are and aligns with the job that you're applying for. So tell your career story in it. That's ultimately what it is. It is a one-page opportunity to really be an advertisement for who you are. And so it's telling all the experiences potentially that you have that are most focused to what this role is about. You may have a number of experiences that don't necessarily align with, but you have some things that you may have learned from them. How can you shape even those towards this role? And so even if you worked in, say, an IT role as a help desk lead, but you're looking to work more as a creative director for something else, use those leadership opportunities in that help desk lead and point them in the direction of the role for creative director, right? Not everything that we have goes one to one, because sometimes we're still looking for a way to break into a new industry or into a new opportunity that we really want to do, that we have experience in. And sometimes it's a matter of leveraging the roles that you have, the opportunities that you've had prior to it, and making them reflect what they're looking for. So, tailor-made, your resume, while you have a general resume that you could post on some of these job sites, focusing your resume towards the role that you're applying for will allow the bots and things and the people, the hiring managers that are looking for keywords, pull down your resume. And so you want a resume that is customizable, something that you can move in and out with different points, where it still shows that you have consistently worked, but now you've changed the wording, or maybe the points that you used, excuse me, for this job don't necessarily speak to the next job that you're applying for. And you're able to have something that speaks to who you are as a person truly and positions you as one that is consistent in work and consistent in how they focused on the job. This is one of those things that I challenge everybody that I talk to when it comes to a resume to have a general resume. Have a resume that speaks to all of the opportunities, the skills, both hard and soft skills, so that you can pick and choose the ones that make the most sense for the job that you're applying for. Because how else are you going to get their attention if you're not speaking to what they are looking for? Sometimes we can have a resume that we just kind of generically send everywhere, but it doesn't speak to one thing that we're trying to work towards. And so people grab the things that grab their attention. It's like, oh, well, they have these keywords, but you might not even be looking in that role or in that industry anymore. But because that resume only focuses on those things, or those things are the most grabbed from there, that's what gets people's attention. So make sure that in your job hunt, that your resume pulls out those keywords. Analyze the job description. Take the time and do your homework. It makes all the difference in the world when your resume speaks to what they are actually looking for. And when they're actually looking for it, I promise you, it'll take you further than you even expected when you take the time to analyze the job description and make sure that those key words, those key responsibilities that they're looking for somebody to do, you can speak to them. All right. Next, you're online now. All right. So as part of that, social media presence. Now, you all might be saying, why do employers care? Social media is one of those things where we have an opportunity to put our best foot forward, to tell and show people who we are by being ourselves. Now, we have to be careful on the other side of making sure that we don't share too much. Sometimes social media can work on our behalf, and other times it can work to our detriment. How does your social media position you? If for consistency's sake, you want to be your most genuine self, show it on your social media as well, as if you were okay with your employers looking at it. Now, there is a way to be genuinely, authentically yourself without your social media being a detriment to your job hunt, your professional wins, and so forth. But that is a very thin line, right? There are certain things that sometimes we can get carried away on social media, and it leverages in the opposite direction of where we're trying to go. And so my challenge always when it comes to social media is, how can we best leverage your social media to show who you truly are and get people's attention? And so this is an opportunity to put your best foot forward, whether it be LinkedIn, whether it be Twitter, based off of some of those others, Facebook, other ones that are out there that you might be intrigued with, TikTok, and so forth, making sure that you are presenting your best self out there. You can still have fun and be your best self and still it be attractive to other people without doing too much. Okay. LinkedIn is another one that's online that we spoke about at the very beginning. It's a career-oriented social media platform. And so it's focused on companies. It's focused on employers and employees. It's focused on nonprofits. Any industry that you can think of is on here in some way, shape, form, and fashion. And so being able to connect with these different companies, with these different company heads, decision makers, you'd be surprised how many people across the board, if not even in this session, find themselves on LinkedIn looking for jobs, or they're not even looking for jobs, but because somebody saw their resume, saw some of the details of what they share, something connected with somebody, and somebody has found them and they've gone into a role that they didn't even apply for because they were available and showed them genuine self on LinkedIn. And LinkedIn also has a lot of different jobs that you can apply for. And it gives you some insight on the job. It gives you insights on the company. And then you can also potentially see people that are working for that company. And so you take the opportunity to step out of your comfort zone a little bit and virtually meet some of the people that are working there. Find out what the company is like. Ask questions. Sometimes, many times, making those genuine connections can set you up for at least an interview. And then you have the opportunity to knock it out of the park based off of what you're doing and how you plan. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and TikTok. As I mentioned, social media presence is important. If you have it, you use it, make sure you are able to leverage it, your skill set, what you're doing. If you are a photographer, social media should show that you are a great photographer. If you are a writer and you're on Twitter, joining some of the writing chats that are out there on Twitter gives not only you some visibility, but some of the people that are writing out there, they'll also see you. And if you drop some good nuggets that people can connect with, it's bound to get people's attention. Okay. Facebook, TikTok allows you to connect with people while they're a little more person oriented, right? A little more personal and entertainment oriented. They can still be leveraged by businesses. Businesses allow us to connect with some of the things that are at their heart. And this gives you some insight on the businesses that you're trying to get in contact with or trying to connect with. See what businesses are about, companies are about via their social media. Now, you can tell when somebody took the time to build out good content for a social media company or for an organization or brand versus somebody who's just kind of slapping something together that might be a scam or not the truth. And so take the time to dive into some of these, what some of the companies are posting. Do you really want to work for them based off of what they see as good or inclusive or whatever you might be thinking when you see a site for a brand? What draws you to brands? Look at social medias of the companies that you are trying to get involved with. If they don't have a social media presence, maybe that's not their cup of tea, right? Not everybody's going to be out there. Not every company's out there. But for those that are out there, look at it. Take the time to study it, get to know, understand it. I promise you, it'll come back important later on. All right, you're online. All right, hunt for job October. What does that even mean? You got to hunt for it. You got to look for it. All these are opportunities for job hunting. Excuse me. Job portals. As I mentioned before, job portals are one of the most important tools that we have available to us because we have the internet. There are so many companies that are posting to all these different job portals. Some of them I mentioned up here so that they can get candidates interested. Some of them promise that if you are a company looking for candidates, then posting to them, they will guarantee that they'll have some of the best applicants for you to look at or your money back. Knowing and understanding how to use them, from the LinkedIn to the Hire, the Dice, the Career Builder, clearancejobs.com, especially if you are in an area like DC metro area, Huntsville. There's a place in Idaho, uh, New Mexico, Albuquerque. If you're on the other side of the world, Silicon Valley, some of these jobs are great for you. Then you have recruiting and consulting companies. Many of them have jobs that have contracts that need people to come and work for them. So you have your Robert Halfs, your Booz Allen, your Lidos, I believe it is. And so for them, you can apply to a lot of different jobs through them and go and work for a contract that is with a specific job, a specific company. But those details would come with applying with them first to get on board and then figure out where those companies are, figure out what company or client they're working with, where you can be positioned. Look at their jobs, look at what they're offering out, looking at what's out there and that they're offering, and go from there. How do you use them? How do you use them? First, you need that resume that we talked about at the top so that you can, one, post them there, post them on the sites. Second, you want to know keywords that are associated with the career, the job titles. You can do that as well. Use the search engine within the job portals to go and find them, to find those types of jobs that you want to apply to and start applying. Listen, look about the company. Some of them have, overviews of the companies that are signed up with them, and many of them have links and to their websites, to these companies' websites. So you can go out there and check on the companies yourself. See if you really want to work for the company before you apply for it. Don't just go in there and apply for everything under the sun because you're looking for a job. Be strategic in it. Be strategic in your approach and get the jobs that you really want. And if that means that you need to talk to some people, you need to get in front of some people to have conversations about what the job and what the industry is looking like currently, then use those job portals because some of them talk and share the hiring manager when you apply. If there's a specific job that you want to talk about or share with, reach out to the recruiter that's trying to recruit for some of the consulting companies and recruitment companies. But for the other ones, they have a point of contact for each of the jobs. And if you're looking for government jobs, USA Jobs is a huge one that's out. And that's mostly federal employment around the world. And so you have that opportunity to connect there if that's what you're looking for, if that's the realm that you want to be involved with. Also, nonprofits go to their websites, see their job boards. Some of the other smaller one or some of the other larger ones will have some nonprofit opportunities on them as well. So go in there, resume, make sure you know job titles, make sure you know some of the keywords that you're looking for. Make sure you know your soft and hard skills that you can share in these platforms and work with that. Next, networking. Networking is vital to everything. Everything we do in the job world, in the professional world, as well as our personal world, is relationship oriented. And that's part of networking. Networking is building those relationships. And where do you go to build those relationships, especially for careers? You want to go to places where people that are in that field are. Like if you want to be an actor or an actress, you're probably going to go to LA, Hollywood. You'll probably go to Atlanta. You'll probably go to those places where filmmaking is huge. New York, if you want to model, fashion design, things of that nature, you probably want to go to places where that makes the most sense. If you're wanting to do farming, you probably want to go to a place where there's lots of farm opportunities, right? It really depends. But then you also have the opportunity of going to job fairs and career fairs. They have a lot of different companies that are looking for and actively recruiting. And so every time you go to a job fair that you've made sure the companies that you want to work for are going to be at the job fair. And if you're just looking to go to a job fair to connect with different people in different arenas, go to the job fair, have either a business card, have your resume available that you can share with others. Also, there is a dot card out that, and I don't work for Dot. I'm not asked to advertise them, but it's an opportunity to allow companies and organizations to scan this dot card and connect with your social medias, your emails, your resumes, your websites for showing off your personal brand as well. So leverage those job fairs for the jobs that you want, the industry that you're looking for. Find them. That's what the search engine is about. Use those search engines to find the job and career fairs, and you can focus them, right? If there's a specific job that you're looking for, there are probably job fairs for it. If there's careers or companies that you want to just dabble in and see, there are specific career fairs that you might want to go to. Conferences. Be industry specific when it comes to conferences. Don't just go to conferences to say you went to conferences. If you want to be a graphic designer, you may want to go to Adobe Max. If that's where graphic designers are. So, and a number of other creatives, you may want to go there. You may want to go check that out. If you want to go into cyber security field, there what is it? CyberCon, I think it is. Out in California, there's a few other cyber oriented conferences that you can go to. Go to those because it makes sense in the field, be industry specific. If they're IT ones that you want to go to those because they will have and dabble in some of the areas like cyber. Boom. It makes sense. But make sure when you're looking at conferences to go to that you're not just wasting your time to go and meet people that aren't necessarily aligned with what you're trying to do. Like you wouldn't necessarily go to an IT conference wanting to be a graphic designer or an artist, but sometimes companies that specialize in your area might be at those companies. And so just to be able to connect with certain types of people, but I would say don't waste that on a conference. Go to a career fair or a job fair to do that. So you get more of a generalized version of it. All right. Social medias. On your social medias, you have Twitter, you have LinkedIn, you have a number of others that are out there for just connecting with people and people in those fields already and doing those things. Connect with them, talk to them, build relationship with them because when they're looking for people, you might be on the short list of, oh, hey, I love what you said in such and such. We were in this writing chat and you gave some great insight. I wanted to ask about this job. You never know what could potentially come from your connections on social media. So use them, leverage them, talk to people that you haven't talked to ever before because they are in a position that you're either trying to get to, a company that you're dying to work with. Connect with them, learn about the company the more, and make sure that that's something that you really want to be involved with. And they can be an asset to you potentially if you're trying to apply. They might know some of the insides and outs. And then who knows? They might even put a good word in for you. And then hidden market, how to find them. Now, this is why it's huge for relationships, relationship building, because some you're not going to find out about some of these jobs until you speak to people that know well, right? Some recruiters know about certain jobs, whereas other recruiters may never hear about those jobs, but that all is part of relationship. How do you find those hidden markets? Find the careers that you are looking forward to. If you are trying to advance in executive realms, start connecting with executives because there is a realm of hidden market. The executive market can be very treacherous in that it's hard to break into. But if you start building relationships with people, it can pan out for you and they can share some of the insight. Also, some of the government opportunities aren't necessarily out there for everybody to know. And so building relationship, having conversations with people can open doors. And even if it means you're contracting in one organization, but it builds a bridge to another for you. Leverage your networking skills so you can find out some of those hidden markets. All right, let's move on. All right, so we're going to jump into a quick little activity, and we're going to give you all roughly about 3 to 5 minutes to kind of get your elevator pitch together. And your elevator pitch is something that we all should have in regards to what we're talking about, where we're focused, what we're trying to get to, that really shines and shows us off in 30 seconds to a minute. And many of us, it doesn't take that long for us to have an opening conversation with somebody. But when they ask, well, what do you do? Well, if you include that in your elevator pitch or someone that you're sharing with, to give them as much solid sound details of who you are in a nutshell without them having to read your resume. How would you sum that up? And so that's where we're going to jump into. This is our activity. As we talked about the Resume session earlier, we're taking what we've learned from that session. We're taking what we've learned from building out our resume and how can we speak to our resume that makes sense. The points that we are calling out on that resume in our elevator pitch, we want to make sure that they have the opportunities to share what's on there and really get it across to the people without any problems. We want them to understand what we're talking about. We want them to understand who we are, what we bring to their company potentially, right? And getting the information over to them. We want to share some of our hard skills, some of our soft skills, and how it benefits them. If we do all of those things in our elevator pitch, it gives us the opportunity to talk to, connect with, and have those impromptu conversations with other people successfully. But it requires some practice. This isn't something you're going to be one and done, and that's it. sometimes your elevator pitch will change based off of who you're talking to. The beautiful thing about the elevator pitch is the more you practice it, the more it becomes second nature, and the more inclined you are with just connecting with people based off of your pitch. And you can share what you've learned. And once you've built it out, once you've really built it out and practice it, it, like I said, it comes second nature and you can talk about it easily. All right. So with that, we're going to give you all roughly about 3 minutes, and I'll put it 3 minutes on the clock to think about things that are important, that you know are important to you and important to your skills that you want to share with a recruiter that you want to talk to, right? There, you are at your ideal job. Your dream job is right before you. All you have to do is convince them not only to take your resume, but to ask you for an interview. What would you say is the most important to relay to them? And we're going to take a few minutes, three, to write some of those thoughts down and organize them in such a way that you're able to tell who you are, your experience, share your experience, and some of the skills that are pertinent to either the jobs that you've seen or jobs that are applicable to the company from what you know about the company, skills that are applicable to them as well. Okay. So take this time. I'll talk a little bit about some of the things that from my speech as you all are going on. My elevator speech as a speaker is very simple, but very right to the point. As you all know, I'm Andre from AMP Speaks, also known as That Guy AMP, which you can find on all social media platforms. And my focus is talking to college students. I talk to college students, and from a college student standpoint, my goal with them is to allow them to overcome fear, live out the purpose that they are made for by finding the opportunities to leverage their higher education and turn that into the career, the job that they are going to next so that they can truly get to the dream that they're made for. Now, from a college standpoint, that elevator pitch changes a little bit, and it talks about the focus on retention of the students. Because for every college, they want to make sure that their students are staying with them. Secondly, they want to make sure that their students are getting the bang for their buck while they're there. And if they are enjoying it and getting the bang for their buck, they're going to stay longer. So that enhances retention. But not only that, they'll go for multiple degrees, higher education of the higher education, right? They'll sell more, they'll have more money. And then that third piece is they'll tell more people about it. How else do you get legacies for universities, right? You treat them well, and their kids are more likely to come back. They're more likely to tell other people about their experience if you can keep them. And so for me, that elevator pitch is very simple, very kind of box and, tied with the bow so that they can understand what's next. We're down to that final minute of that. And so giving all of those skills, giving what I share, whether I am in front of the decision makers at an organization or I'm in front of students just to talk to them and share with them so that they might take me on as a coach. They might tell their organizations, oh, hey, we want him to come and speak to all of us. We want to have those opportunities. And so your elevator speech should definitely be focused in such a way that people understand what you're talking about and how it relates to them. All right. I think we're down to our last 20 seconds on the clock. And then we'll go into our next section. Maybe at the end, we'll have some opportunity to go over some of your elevator speeches, hear some and talk about some, and go from there. Because it is important that you get some feedback. And maybe that's one of the things that I'll offer. Awesome. Awesome. That is it for that opportunity. If you didn't get to finish your elevator speech or elevator pitch right now, that's fine. We can work on it some more later, and we can talk offline about how you all might get on a call with me, and we can spend some time talking about your elevator pitch, give you some good feedback, and move forward in being that best speech that you can put possible. Okay. All right. So who are you talking about? Who are you talking to? Now we deal with this in our interview preparation class. It's like, who are you talking to? And we've done the session. So go back to YouTube and check out the who are you talking to session and see some of the tips and tricks that we use for prepping for the interview. Being prepared for an interview is vital because otherwise you won't get the job. If you go and bomb your interview, it's not going to be good. And you don't want to bomb. It is just one of those things. You don't want to bomb. You don't want to feel rejected. And sometimes rejection in itself can be an already difficult thing that we are all focused on and we see when it comes to interviewing. That's why we get nervous. We often are afraid of rejection. But when I tell you, you spend time in preparing for that interview, you spend time doing your homework, learning the questions that could potentially be asked in this interview, seeing some of those specific questions that are focused on your industry so that you can speak to them better and better organize what you might say if they asked you those, and see some of the general questions that the companies are asking. Some companies post some of their general questions out on the web. Another good use for the search engine, right? Going out there and seeing what type of sample questions are out there in your industry so you can speak to those things. Dress for the day. If you are working for a surfing company and you're going to interview with them, you're probably not going to wear a suit and tie. They're a surfing company. Why would they want to see you in a suit and tie when most of them probably don't wear suit and ties unless they absolutely have to? And interviewing, they want to connect with who you are. So dress for the day. Understand, one, who you're going to be speaking with. What's the point, the purpose? Always dress to impress. In my book, always dress to impress when it comes to the dressing for the day in this. And make sure that you do your level best. Virtual interviews. Now with, of course, Google Meet, Zoom, Teams, all of these virtual platforms, more interviews are moving to the virtual arena before they bring you in person, if they bring you in person at all. And so, and that has also been helped by COVID. We get a lot of virtual things done these days. And so the opportunity here is dress to impress, even there. Make sure you're prepared. Make sure you have your notes. Make sure you are just prepared and ready to go. Excuse me. Make sure you are polished and ready to go with your virtual interview. Don't take it half-heartedly just because it's on the screen. You never know what kind of situation you'll find yourself in when you go virtual. And so IT can have issues. Be flexible. Make sure that you've tested your stuff well before the interview happens. Make sure you're presentable on the screen and make sure that there's not a whole lot of random things in your screen. You can also use a background. Backgrounds are always good to use. All right. So making sure that you are ready to talk the talk and walk the walk in your interview. All right. So let's wrap it up. We've had a conversation and where we focused on a lot of different things that are important to your job hunt. We talked about, of course, the job hunt is real. If you're looking for a job, is real. If you're in a job that you don't really like, is real. If you're in a job right now that you're kind of growing out of, is real. And we want to be the most successful in a job hunt that is real. We want to make sure that we are making the best choices. We are leveraging all of our skills to really truly find that job that fits us for this time, for this season. The importance of your resume, hands down. You need a resume. You can't apply for a job without a resume. I don't know any jobs or any job boards or job portals that say, hey, yeah, you can apply without a resume. People want to see what you've been doing. Check out your online presence. What does your online presence say about you? And how does that connect with what you've put in your resume? How does that connect with employers? And how do you connect with employers and companies that you see out on social media? Is this really the company that you want to be working for? Look at them. Look at what they're putting out on social media as well. Get an understanding of who they are. Do your homework. All of this requires us doing a little bit more, a little bit extra to get that advantage. Because sometimes, many times, it may be who you know. And so, but at the same time, you have to be presentable online. Make sure you put your best foot forward. Finding the jobs, go to these different job portals, go to the networking events, find the jobs that you are looking for. And if you can't find the jobs that you're looking for, leverage your social media, leverage your network to find people that are in the jobs that you're trying to get to. Because if you can find the people, you can find the jobs. And if you find the jobs, you know where to apply. You can build those relationships. You can get the insight on where you need to be going. You've created an elevator pitch. And if you haven't, we'll talk about that more later next time. You can reach out and spend some time and we'll help you build that elevator pitch as well. And then we talked about the importance of your interview preparation, making sure that you spend time preparing and practicing, getting to know what is out there, getting to know what's in the industry that you're trying to work in. What kind of questions are they asking? What kind of things are they wanting to know about the people that are trying to work in their fields, in their industry? And so it gives you the opportunity, if you apply all of this to your job hunt, you will be more successful in positioning yourself the best way possible, still being authentically you, still being very visible, but you'll catch more people's attention as well. You'll speak with people differently. You'll interview with people differently. You'll connect with people where they are, and they'll connect with you where you are, and build out those relationships that lead to you getting your dream job. So set some career goals for yourself. Where do you want to be in the next 3 years, 5 years? What careers are you looking for in this immediate time to get to there? And how can you leverage those as opportunities to get to that next level? Make sure timelines get completed. You need to have them set so that you know you can gauge if they're completed. If you are still at the very beginning of putting that resume together, set a timeline of when you want to start applying for jobs, when you want to start looking. Get that resume first solidified and move forward. Practice, practice, practice some more. I say this all the time because everything that we do requires us being practiced, requires us being polished. And the more we practice, the more comfortable we are with it, the more it falls to our personality versus us just kind of reading off of papers and understanding. If you know your resume like the back of your hand, you'll be able to speak to the points as people ask and inquire about this job versus this job. What was so important about this job that you called out this here, but didn't call it out here, where they might have thought it was more applicable, right? The more you practice, the better you get with understanding and showing up as your best self always. And that requires practicing. Make sure that you take the time to do all of these things and really organize yourself to be your best self in this job hunt. We want you to succeed in this job hunt. We want you to land your best job that you could have even imagined to land because you took the steps to heart. You've practiced, you spent time getting to know that resume, getting to know the industry, and you've done your level best and you land that dream job. And if you do, you know I want to hear about it. Absolutely want to hear about it. So when you land that job, come and shout us out. Shoot us an email. All right. And so with that, thank you for taking the time to join us in this session. I truly appreciate you joining us for another WeSERVE Cares Employment Readiness session. As mentioned, I'm that guy, Amped, Andre Powell of Amp Speaks, and I am available for having conversations with you. If you want to work on your elevator pitch some more, shoot me an email at info@ampspeaks.com. Also, check out some of our coaching opportunities. If you want to just talk through what you're going through as far as either business or your career positions, and you just need a coach to kind of stand with you, get on my calendar at ampspeaks /coaching, and let's talk. Let's do a discovery call, half an hour to an hour, and really get out there and see what you're talking about. Second, or lastly, I'm that guy amped on all social media platforms. And so this year, I will be doing a lot more things for employment readiness, public speaking to help people, others. And so many of the sessions that you've seen from the employment readiness standpoint, we are growing and developing more so that they are across the board helpful to college students, young professionals across the board, those emerging leaders that are looking for opportunities to better position themselves to win. That's what we're about here. We want everybody to always live an amp life. All right. So until next time, know that I love you. God loves you even more. And be inspired, be edified, be encouraged. Put God first in all that you do. Love unconditionally. Do what you love and always live an amp life. Let's get amped. And we'll see you next time.